I never expected my wedding dress to feel like a funeral shroud, but as I walk toward the man who will claim my body before he ever learns my truth, I know exactly who is being buried tonight. Everyone calls this union a truce, a merger, a sacrifice that will keep the East Coast from drowning in its own blood. But they don't know the truth. They don't know that I cannot be what he expects. The proof they want on the sheets will never come. The innocence my family promised him died years ago, stolen by a man who still breathes the same air as me. My new husband doesn't know it. Not yet. Alessandro Moretti, the man whispered about in private rooms, feared by politicians and criminals alike. A man whose touch will feel like both sin and sentence. He thinks he's claiming something pure. He thinks this marriage gives him a possession untouched. But when he lifts my veil, when his eyes settle on me with the weight of a man assessing something he already owns, I realize the truth. He isn't the monster I should fear. It's the moment he discovers I cannot bleed for him that will turn him into one. Tonight, a wedding will be sealed, and so will a war.
The blood-stained marriage. I never believed in cages until I stepped into mine wearing couture. The dress weighs more than it looks. Thousands of hand-sewn crystals dragging down silk and spine alike. Somewhere behind me, the cathedral doors close with a soft, final click, muting the hum of whispered bets, how long I'll last, how quickly he'll own me, how loudly I'll scream on our wedding night. I straighten my back and keep walking. The aisle stretches out like a white marble execution line, flanked by pews filled with the worst kind of royalty, billionaires, senators, tech founders with shiny reputations and filthy money. And among them, scattered like shadows that refuse to be bleached out, sit the men my father calls business partners, and everyone else calls criminals. Two worlds, one church, pretending they aren't the same thing. At the far end, under the arch of white roses and gold leaf, stands my future husband, Alessandro Moretti. He wears a black three-piece suit that probably cost more than my childhood home, but it's his poise that's expensive, the kind only acquired by a lifetime of watching people die for disappointing you. He is tall, dark hair cut with surgical precision, a face you could call beautiful if you ignored how cold the lines are. The Moretti heir, CEO of one of the biggest private equity firms on the East Coast, quiet owner of half the ports that see drugs and weapons slip past customs in the dead of night. And now, apparently, mine. Or rather, I'm his. The semantics blur when contracts are written in blood. My fingers tighten around the bouquet until the stems bite my skin. My father walks beside me, his hand heavy on my arm. I can feel pride radiating off him like cheap cologne, thick enough to choke on. "Smile," he murmurs without moving his lips. I do. It feels like a crack in porcelain. We pass the first rows. I glimpse familiar faces, men who watched me grow up, men who ruffled my hair when I was small, who now won't quite look me in the eye. Their wives are swathed in Chanel and diamonds, mouths painted the color of spilled wine. Some look pitying, some look envious. More look satisfied, a daughter for peace. How quaint. My gaze drifts past them, searching for the one person I've been avoiding all afternoon. I find him near the back, half in shadow even in a cathedral full of light. Luca. His dark eyes lock with mine for a fraction of a heartbeat. His jaw is clenched, knuckles white where his hands grip the edge of the pew. He looks like he wants to kill someone. He should have tried harder earlier. I drag my eyes away before the priest notices where I'm looking, focusing on the man waiting for me instead. Alessandro doesn't fidget. He doesn't adjust his cuffs, shift his weight, or glance over his shoulder the way nervous grooms do. He simply watches me, utterly still, like he's assessing an asset being delivered. When I reach the steps, my father releases my arm and places my hand into Alessandro's much larger one. His palm is warm, his grip firm and unyielding. There is no tremor, no hesitation, only ownership. The priest's voice rises, smooth and rehearsed. A union forged not only in love, but in trust, in commitment, in money, in bullets, in leverage. I let his words wash over me, meaningless noise beneath the thud of my heartbeat. Incense thickens the air. Light through stained glass paints everything in fractured colors. Underneath it all sits fear, low and constant. An electric hum beneath my skin. Not of Alessandro exactly. I've known monsters. They don't usually wear Tom Ford. I'm afraid of the sheets. My family doesn't talk about it. Not openly. But the old tradition still lingers in certain circles, the bloody proof, the morning scrutiny, the silent judgment. Innocent. Used. Ruined. I was 17 the night I bled. Not by choice. Not with tenderness. Not with love. A memory flashes hands too strong. A laugh too close, the smell of alcohol and cologne. I shove it back into the darkness before it swallows me. For better. For worse. Alessandro repeats the words with no discernible inflection. His voice is low, smooth, carrying easily through the cathedral. A man used to having people listen when he speaks. Then it's my turn. My tongue feels thick. I, Emilia Romano, 2 syllables. My name, small, disposable. Take you, Alessandro Moretti. His fingers tighten almost imperceptibly around mine. To have and to hold. From this day forward, for as long as you find me useful. When the priest finally says, "You may kiss the bride," hundreds of eyes sharpen, waiting to see if I falter. Alessandro lifts my veil with deliberate precision. Up close, his irises are a deep hazel, warm in color, cold in focus, like whiskey poured over ice. He lowers his head and brushes his mouth over mine. The kiss is controlled, perfect for photographs. His lips are soft. His grip at my waist is not. When he pulls back, something flickers in his gaze. Not desire. Assessment. Applause erupts. Cameras flash. Somewhere, a gun safety clicks on and off. The union is sealed. Or it better be if anyone values their life. The reception sprawls across 3 floors of the cathedral's private hall. Chandeliers glitter above white hydrangeas shaped into towering sculptures. A string quartet plays something elegant that no one's really listening to. I sit beside Alessandro at the head table. His presence is a weight warm, commanding, inescapable. He spent the evening circulating, shaking hands with senators, CEOs, men who wear lawfulness like an accessory. Now he turns his attention fully on me. "You're quiet," he says, swirling whiskey in his glass. "Nerves?" I force myself to meet his eyes. Would it be reassuring if I said no? A ghost of a smile touches his mouth. Honesty. That's rare. Honesty would ruin everything. He studies me with an unsettling patience. "You understand how important tonight is?" "Of course," I say. My voice is steady. My pulse is not. The proof. The expectation. The blood. He leans in slightly. Not enough for anyone else to notice, but enough that the warmth of his breath grazes my skin. "I expect a real marriage, Emilia, not a symbolic arrangement." The words drop like stones in my stomach. I swallow. I know what's expected. "Good," he says, "because I don't tolerate disappointment." Alas, midnight comes. We slip away under the guise of a private moment. Outside, photographers snap their final photos as he guides me into the sleek black car. Once the door shuts, silence fills the cabin. The partition slides up. We are alone. "You're shaking," he observes. I force my hand still. Cold. He removes his jacket and drapes it over my shoulders. The inside smells like him, clean, dark, expensive. "Better?" he asks. I nod. He studies me again. More carefully this time. "Whatever you think tonight will be, Emilia, I'm not interested in hurting you." A tremor runs through me anyway. Not interested yet. The car pulls into the Moretti estate. Glass, steel, power. He helps me out, hand warm over mine. "Welcome home, Mrs. Moretti." Home. Inside, he dismisses his men and leads me to the master bedroom, spacious, elegant, impersonal. a stage. He removes his cufflinks, his tie. His gaze never leaves me. Take off the dress, he says softly. Not cruel, not impatient, just certain. The room tilts. My lungs seize. My fingers clutch the satin at my hips as the memory tries to claw its way up my throat. Not now, not here. Just breathe. But my body won't move. He notices. His eyes sharpen. Emilia, I won't ask again. My heart slams against my ribs. I see the future, the unmarked sheets, the whispers, the danger, and I hear myself say it before I can stop the words. I won't bleed. 8 end of Sef. Silence. Alessandro goes still. All warmth drains from his expression, leaving something carved and lethal. What? He says quietly, each syllable deadly. Did you just say? My voice trembles. I won't bleed. Not tonight. Not ever. A muscle ticks in his jaw. Who? Alessandro asks, stepping closer. His voice a blade wrapped in velvet, touched what belongs to me, and the world cracks open.
The confession. For a moment, the world narrows to a single heartbeat. Mine. It pounds in my ears, drowning out the quiet hum of the city beyond the windows, the soft rustle of curtains moving in the air-conditioned breeze, even the low, steady sound of Alessandro's breathing. He stands, perfectly still, too still, like a predator deciding whether the creature in front of him is prey, threat, or something else entirely. His eyes, those warm hazel tones that looked nearly human during the ceremony, have gone dark, stripped of all pretense. Say it again, he murmurs. Not a request. An order. My throat tightens. I said I won't bleed. His jaw flexes once. A subtle movement most wouldn't notice. But here, with no one watching, with no orchestra to drown the tension, the gesture feels seismic. He steps closer. Not fast. Not aggressive. Deliberate. Measured. Every movement calculated to keep me exactly where he wants me. Still. Small. Seen. I retreat one step without meaning to. My back brushes the carved wood of the bedpost. There is nowhere left to go. His gaze drops to the fabric of my wedding gown, to the trembling in my fingertips, then lifts again to my face. Explain, he says softly. 2 syllables. Sharp as a blade. I inhale slowly, but the air feels thin, like it's been filtered through panic. It's not what you think. End quote. His head inclines a fraction. Enlighten me. I want to hide. I want to run. I want to rewind my entire life to before tonight, before him, before the night I lost something the world demands I still have. But running isn't an option. Not from Alessandro Moretti. Not from this room. Not from myself. My lips part, but the words snag on a shard of memory. Cold tile. The smell of cologne and liquor, a hand over my mouth, a laugh I still hear in nightmares. I force my voice steady. It happened years ago. His expression doesn't change, but the air shifts colder, sharper. Who? He asks. A single word. A threat disguised as a question. I shake my head. It doesn't matter now. His eyes flash. Something dangerous coils beneath his calm exterior. Emilia. Everything matters now. My name in his mouth feels different this time, no longer silk, but steel. Tell me, he says quietly, or I will assume the worst. And what is the worst? I whisper. That you willingly gave yourself to another man before becoming mine. My breath stutters. I didn't. He cuts in, voice low. Then tell me who hurt you. Hurt. The word cracks something inside me. I shake my head again, harder this time. No, a muscle ticks in his jaw. No, he repeats. Not a question. A challenge. You don't understand, I whisper. Make me, he says, stepping even closer. The scent of him surrounds me, clean cotton, a whisper of cedar, the subtle edge of something darker. He lifts his hand and touches my chin, tilting my face up. The gesture is gentle. The power behind it is not. Emilia, he murmurs, marriages like ours rest on 2 things, loyalty and truth. You will not lie to me tonight. I'm not lying, I say, anger sparking beneath the fear. No, he agrees, studying me. You're terrified. His thumb grazes my jawline. I flinch, just barely, and his hand stills. Who put that fear in you, he asks. The air thickens. My pulse echoes through my entire body. You're my husband, I whisper, bitterness creeping in. Not my confessor. His eyes glint. I will be both if I need to. I exhale shakily. This marriage is about alliances and power. You don't need to know. I need to know everything about what's mine. The word lands heavy between us. Mine. He doesn't shout it. He doesn't need to. His tone is calm, even tender in its restraint. But the possessiveness beneath it is unmistakable. You think I'm angry because you won't bleed? He asks quietly. You think I care about some old-world tradition more than reality? My throat tightens. Isn't that exactly what you care about? For the first time since I met him, Alessandro looks almost insulted. No, he says. What matters to me is that someone touched you. Without my consent. Without your consent. End quote. His fingers trail down my arm, slow enough to feel every trembling inch. And I want a name. The memories press in again, sharp and suffocating. I swallow them whole. There is no name, I say firmly. Not for you. Not for my father. Not for anyone. Silence stretches. Then he speaks, voice dangerously soft. Was it a lover? Cold floods my body. No. A boyfriend? His eyes narrow. A secret engagement? A fling? No. I repeat, louder this time. His gaze darkens. So why protect him? Because he promised to kill him, I think. Because the last thing I want is another man dying because of me. But I say nothing. Alessandro studies me with unnerving focus, like he's peeling back layers one by one. When I still refuse to answer, he exhales slowly, lifts his hand, brushes a strand of hair behind my ear with surprising tenderness. Then quietly, was it violence? The world stops. My lungs seize. My fingers go cold. The room tilts. I grip the bedpost to stay upright. His eyes widen by a fraction so slight most people would miss it. But I see it, because I'm trained to see danger. And what I see now is something entirely new. Restraint. As if Alessandro is holding himself still by sheer will, waiting for my answer, knowing it will decide what kind of man he becomes tonight. Emilia, he whispers, did someone force you? The last word scrapes across my skin. I close my eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. Finally, I nod once. A small movement, a seismic shift. Something detonates behind his eyes. Not fury, not the explosive kind I expected. Something quieter, deadlier. He lowers his head slightly, voice dropping to a hushed whisper. Then understand this, he says. What happened to you is not yours to be ashamed of. It is his to die for. A shiver runs down my spine. I told you, I whisper. You don't need to kill anyone for me. He studies me for a long, heavy moment. Then his mouth curves, not a smile, but something darker. Wife, he murmurs, you don't decide what I need. I look away. This changes nothing. Our families still expect. Stop, he says softly, but with command threaded through the syllable. His fingers lift my chin again, not forcefully, but firmly. I am not taking you tonight because a ledger demands it, he says. Not because our families expect bloody sheets, and not because I want to prove something. His gaze drops to my lips. I'm taking you, he continues in a low, steady tone. When you want me to. Heat floods my cheeks. My pulse stutters. I don't, I begin. He leans in slightly, not enough to touch, just enough for his presence to feel like a gravitational pull. Hush, he says. I didn't ask for an answer. I said when. I exhale shakily. Why? He tilts his head. Because I don't need to force what I intend to own. My breath catches. And when you come to me, he murmurs, I want it to be of your own choosing. Not out of fear, Not because you think it's a duty. A pause. Because you want me. My chest tightens. And you will? He adds quietly. Heat crawls up my throat. You're very confident. He smiles faintly. No, I'm patient. Silence stretches, charged and electric. Then he steps back, not far, but enough to let me breathe again. Enough to remind me he's capable of restraint. Tonight, he says, loosening another button on his shirt, you sleep in your room. I sleep in mine. Shock flickers through me. We're not? No, he says simply. Not tonight. I should feel relieved. And I do, mostly. But beneath the relief is something else. A thread of heat. A flicker of curiosity. The faint, terrifying awareness of how intensely he can look at me without touching me at all. He turns toward the door of the master bath, then pauses. And Amelia? I look up. His expression is unreadable. His tone is not. I will find out who hurt you, he says quietly. Whether you tell me or not. Fear and hope twist inside my chest like twin flames. Before I can respond, he disappears into the bathroom, the soft click of the door echoing through the vast room. I stand alone in the silence, the weight of the evening settling onto my shoulders. For the first time since the ceremony, I allow myself to exhale fully. My secret is out, but my safety? That feels more uncertain than ever. When I finally crawl into the guest bed down the hall, exhaustion drags at my limbs, but sleep doesn't come. All I can think about is the man down the corridor, the man who should terrify me, and does. The man who didn't touch me tonight, and that terrifies me more, because restraint in the hands of a man like Alessandro Moretti is far more dangerous than rage.
The hunger and the hunt. I don't remember when I finally fall asleep. Just that, sometime between midnight and dawn, exhaustion overpowers the panic still clawing through my body. But I wake to silence, a heavy, watchful kind of silence. For a moment, I don't know where I am. The ceiling above me is unfamiliar, smooth, white, framed by recessed lighting. The sheets beneath my palms are soft, expensive, colder than I expected. The Moretti estate, the marriage, the confession. It all rushes back in one suffocating wave. I sit up too fast. My head spins. My dress from last night, carefully draped over a chair, glitters faintly in the morning light. My hair is loose, falling over my shoulders in tangled curls. My body aches not from what could have happened, but from what almost did. A soft sound breaks the quiet. A knock, but not the tentative kind of someone unsure if I'm awake. No, this knock is controlled, measured, a reminder that nothing in this house moves unless he allows it. Amelia? Alessandro's voice carries through the door, low and smooth. I swallow hard. Yes, the handle turns. He opens the door only halfway, which somehow feels more intimidating than if he had walked fully in. He's dressed, of course, charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. His dark hair is slightly damp, like he's just come from the shower. He looks dangerous in the morning light, dangerous and devastatingly composed. Breakfast is ready, he says. His eyes flick briefly over the room, then settle on me. Get dressed. We have business to discuss. Business. The word knots my stomach. He doesn't elaborate. He doesn't need to. He closes the door with the same silent precision. I rise from the bed, legs unsteady, and make my way to the dressing room. My belongings I hadn't noticed last night are already arranged neatly. Dresses hung, shoes displayed, cosmetics lined like artifacts. It feels intrusive, organized, controlled. It feels like him. I choose something simple. A knee-length ivory dress. Soft fabric, no sharp edges. My hands shake as I zip it up. I don't know why. I'm not scared of him the way I should be. Or maybe I am. Just not in the way I expected. Maybe the fear now isn't that he'll touch me, but that he won't. The dining room is all modern lines and cold luxury, with a long table overlooking the manicured gardens behind floor-to-ceiling glass. Sunlight floods the room. It should feel warm. It doesn't. Alessandro sits at the head of the table, a black coffee in front of him, his phone resting screen down beside it. He doesn't look up when I enter, but I feel the shift in the air as surely as if he had reached out and grabbed my wrist. "Sit," he says. I take the seat to his right. A server appears, setting down a plate of fresh fruit, bread, eggs. Everything looks perfect. Everything feels forced. Alessandro watches me with unreadable eyes as I lift a fork. "You barely slept," he says. I freeze. "How do you know?" "Because I didn't either." My pulse jumps. He leans back slightly, studying me with that calm intensity that feels like a hand around my throat. Gentle pressure. "No escape. You're thinking I made a mistake last night," he says. "By not touching you." I drop my gaze to my plate. "I'm not. Don't lie." Heat rushes to my face. He lifts his cup, takes a slow sip, sets it down. "I'm many things, Amelia, but impatient is not one of them." I force a breath. "That's not what I thought." "No?" His head tilts. "Then what?" "You terrify me. You confuse me. You make me feel things I don't want to feel. I don't know." I whisper. He smiles barely. "I think you do. In as time." The silence stretches, thick and warm and unsettling. Then he speaks again, voice shifting into something colder. "There is something you need to understand," he says. "Last night doesn't change our marriage. It doesn't alter expectations. It doesn't erase what we are to each other." My stomach drops. "But it does," he continues. "Give me information I didn't have before." I grip my fork. "And what will you do with that information?" "Use it." A chill wraps around my spine. "How?" He doesn't answer right away. Instead, he stands, walking toward the window. The morning light outlines the sharp lines of his suit, the cut of his shoulders, the controlled strength in his posture. "I've already made inquiries," he says quietly. My breath stutters. "About what?" "About you." He turns his head slightly, enough for me to catch the shadow of his profile. "About the people who had access to you. About the men in your father's circle. About every event you attended since you were 16. My heart stops. "You're investigating me?" Now he looks at me fully. His gaze is unflinching. "No. I'm investigating who hurt you." Panic surges. "Alessandro, stop. You can't." "I can," he says, voice calm. "And I will." "You're crossing lines." "There are no lines when it comes to my wife." "I'm not asking for vengeance." "But I am." My breath catches. "Why? You don't even know me." His jaw tightens. "Because what's mine is mine. Because someone touched you before I could. Because someone stole something they had no right to take." The room spins slightly. "This isn't about me. It's about your pride." "No, Amelia," he says. "It's about justice." I laugh, bitter. "This isn't justice. It's obsession." He crosses the room in 3 slow, controlled steps until he stands beside my chair. His hand lifts, hovering near my cheek, not touching, just close enough to feel heat. "You don't understand yet," he murmurs. "But you will." A shiver wrecks its way through me. His eyes drop to my mouth. I inhale sharply. Then he steps back, not out of indifference, out of restraint. "It's far worse." "Finish eating," he says, tone shifting again. "We're leaving in an hour." "Leaving?" I echo. "Where?" "To my office. You'll be staying close to me until this matter is resolved." My pulse spikes. "That isn't necessary." "It is," he says. "Last night taught me something important." "What?" "That you're in danger." I blink. "From who?" He meets my gaze, and the intensity in his eyes steals the breath from my lungs. "From every man who thinks he knows what was done to you," he says. "And from the one who actually did." I swallow hard. "You think he'll come back?" "Yes," Alessandro says simply. "Guilt and cowardice always leave a trail, and men who commit violence often repeat it." I shiver. "And," he adds. There's something else. His gaze skims my throat, the faint tremor of my pulse. You're my wife now, he says. That alone puts a target on you. My enemies will be searching for weaknesses. You are not one of them. Heat blooms in my chest. I didn't ask to be protected. I didn't ask your permission. His voice isn't sharp. It isn't cruel. It's certain. And certainty, from a man like him, is more dangerous than cruelty ever could be. The car ride into the city is silent at first. Alessandro sits beside me, legs spread slightly, arm resting on the leather seat behind me, not touching my shoulders but close enough to feel like a physical presence. Every time the car turns, his thigh brushes mine. My body reacts before I can stop it. A jolt of heat, a tightening in my stomach, a breath caught in my throat. He notices. Of course he notices. His lips curl slightly. Nervous? No. I lie. His hand drops onto my knee. Warm. Heavy. Claiming. My breath fractures. His fingers don't move. They simply rest there. A reminder of power, of possession, of the fact that last night wasn't mercy. It was patience. Relax, he murmurs. I told you I won't take anything from you. His thumb brushes my skin. Not until you ask for it. Heat surges through me so fast it borders on pain. I'm not going to ask, I whisper. He leans in. Lips near my ear. You will. I inhale sharply. He sits back again. Satisfied. As if the trembling in my body is enough answer for now. His office is a high-rise overlooking the city, sleek, glass, intimidating. People stand when he enters. They lower their voices. They watch me with thinly veiled curiosity. He leads me to a private room connected to his office. Minimalist, luxurious. A faint hint of his cologne lingers in the air. This will be yours when you're here, he says. You can work, read, rest. No one comes in without my permission. I nod, but he's watching me too closely for it to be enough. Come here, he says softly. I step toward him, pulse unsteady. He reaches out, taking my chin between his fingers, tilting my face up. His eyes trace every line of it slow, deliberate, as if memorizing me. Then he whispers something that chills me and warms me at once. I wake every morning wanting to punish the man who hurt you, he murmurs, and I go to sleep wanting to teach you what pleasure is supposed to feel like. My breath stops. He leans in, not touching my lips, but close enough for the promise to feel like a physical thing. When I take you, he says, it will be nothing like what he did. The world tilts. And Amelia, he adds softly, if you think I'm obsessed now, wait until you realize you want me too. What has bid? He pulls back before I can respond, before I can breathe. A knock interrupts the tension. Boss? A man calls from outside. We have an update. Alessandro straightens. His eyes harden. Come in. A tall man enters, a Moretti lieutenant, by the look of him. He nods respectfully toward me, then hands Alessandro a file. Alessandro flips it open. His eyes narrow. What is it? I ask softly. He closes the file with controlled precision. We found something, he says. Ice slides down my spine. About who hurt me? His gaze meets mine, and for the first time since I met him, I see real anger. Not the cold, controlled kind. Something deeper, darker. Yes, he says. We have a name. My blood goes cold. His voice lowers. Lethal and intimate all at once. And Amelia. He's closer than you think.
The man in the shadows. For a moment, the world narrows to the weight of a file folder sitting in Alessandro's hand. Thin, ordinary, unremarkable, except for the name inside. A name tied to every tremor in my body, to every nightmare that crawls under my skin, to the night I bled and no one heard me. Alessandro holds the file like a blade he intends to use. Tell me, I whisper. He doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he studies me, really studies me, like he's trying to decide how much truth I can withstand before breaking. When he finally speaks, his voice is dangerously calm. His name is Adrian Rossi. Everything in me goes still. Ice crawls across my stomach, my chest, my throat. No, that name should not be here. Not in this room, not in Alessandro's world. Impossible. I breathe. He left years ago. Europe. My father sent him away. Your father, Alessandro interrupts quietly, did not send him away. My heart slams into my ribs. What are you talking about? He closes the file, sets it on the desk, steps closer, too close. Your father, he says, promoted him. The air leaves my lungs. For a second, I swear I feel the floor tilt beneath me. A sick, dizzying sensation as the pieces click into place. Memories surge like bile, the pressure of a hand, the smell of whiskey, the slurred voice whispering your father will never know. A lie, a promise, a threat. Promoted, I whisper. He rewarded him? Alessandro's jaw tightens. Yes, my hands shake. No, I whisper again. No, he didn't know what Adrian did. He couldn't have. He wouldn't. He knew, Alessandro says softly. The words strike like a blade sliding between my ribs. Quiet, precise, fatal. I stumble back. My heel catches the edge of the carpet, and the room blurs. Alessandro reaches for me instantly, steadying me with both hands. His grip is firm, grounding, unbearably gentle in contrast to the storm tearing through me. Emilia, he murmurs, look at me. But I can't. My vision burns. My chest tightens until breathing feels like swallowing glass. My father, I choke on the words. He protected Adrian. He kept him close. Why? Why would he? Alessandro's touch tightens at my waist. Because Adrian was valuable to him, useful, loyal. Loyal? I snap, the word twisting with disbelief and rising fury. To who? Not to you, he says softly. The room quiets. The truth settles like ash in the air. My father never believed me, because he never asked, because he never cared. He only cared whether Adrian was an asset, a tool, a weapon. And I was nothing but the daughter whose value lay in marriage contracts and political leverage. My legs weaken again. Alessandro draws me closer, one arm slipping around my waist with a possessiveness I should resist but can't. Because if he lets go, I might fall apart completely. His thumb brushes my hips slow, grounding, intimate. Emilia, breathe. I do. Shaky, shallow, but I breathe. He lowers his forehead until it almost touches mine, his voice dropping to a whisper meant for me alone. He hurt you, he says, and your father protected him. That ends now. I squeeze my eyes shut. A tear slips free, unwanted and infuriating. Don't cry for him, Alessandro murmurs. Cry for yourself, if you must, but not for a man who would destroy you to protect his own alliances. Another tear falls. He catches it with his thumb before it reaches my lips. The touch is too gentle, too deliberate. It wraps around something inside me I didn't know was still fragile. Why are you doing this? I whisper. Why do you care? He inhales slowly, as if weighing the truth. Then, quietly, because you're mine. The words shouldn't ignite heat. Not now. Not in this moment. But they do. My breath hitches. You keep saying that, because it's true. His thumb traces my lower lip. My heart stumbles. And because the man who hurt you, he continues softly, stole something that should have been mine to take. The words should horrify me, and part of me recoils. The part that still remembers fear, pain, shame. But another part, dark, unfamiliar, responds. A warmth coils low in my stomach. A dangerous, unsteady kind of longing. Alessandro! My voice trembles. His palm slides to the back of my neck, fingers threading through my hair. I'm not asking for it now, he whispers. I told you I can wait. His breath brushes my mouth. My pulse jumps. But make no mistake, Emilia. His eyes burn into mine. When I do touch you, when you finally let me in, it will erase every bruise he left on your soul. My breath shatters. He leans closer, not kissing me, but hovering, the edge of restraint fraying. "And when I'm done," he murmurs, "you will never remember him again." A low, involuntary sound escapes my throat, a broken mix of want and fear and something deeper, more dangerous. His lips curve faintly. "There she is," he says softly. "My wife." I swallow hard, the words sinking deep. He pulls back slightly, not far, just enough to give me room to breathe. "Sit," he says gently. What?" "I'm calling the Rossi family in for questioning," he says. "But first, I want you calm, present, safe." Safe, a word I haven't felt in years. He guides me to the leather sofa. I sit because my legs don't feel like they belong to me anymore. He takes a seat beside me, close enough that our knees almost touch. "Tell me everything." His voice is softer now. "Not the details you can't bear, just what I need to know." I look down at my hands. My fingers twist together, knuckles white. He waits and waits. He's silent, but not impatient. And somehow, that makes it easier. "It was after a party," I finally whisper. "A political thing. My father insisted I attend. Adrian offered to drive me home. He was older, confident. People trusted him." Alessandro's jaw sharpens. His hand curls into a fist. "But he didn't take me home," I continue. "He stopped the car, locked the doors, said things I didn't understand at first. And then he stole." My throat closes. I force the words out. And then I understood. Alessandro's breathing changes. Slow, controlled, deadly. "I tried to tell my father," I whisper. "He told me never to speak of it again, that I must have misunderstood, that Adrian was loyal, a good man, someone he relied on." A tear falls onto my wrist. After that, I never said anything again. Silence. Then Alessandro stands abruptly, not pacing, not shouting, just standing, like a storm gathering strength before it breaks. As he turns toward the window, his voice is low, deceptively calm. "Adrian Rossi will die." Fear spikes through me. "Alessandro." He doesn't turn. Not quickly. "Alessandro, please." He finally faces me, and his expression, God, not rage, not coldness, something far more terrifying. Conviction. "You think I'm doing this because of pride?" he asks quietly. "Because someone touched what I consider mine?" I swallow. "Yes, Retta." He shakes his head once. "No, Emilia. I'm doing this because someone hurt a girl who never deserved the pain she carried alone for years. Because someone broke you. And because He stops, clenches his jaw, exhales sharply. I wait. When he looks at me again, something raw burns in his eyes. "I will not let the man who destroyed you walk freely in my city," he says, "or in this world." The words aren't romantic. They aren't soft. But they land somewhere dangerously close to my heart. He steps toward me again, slower this time, controlled. When he reaches me, he lifts my chin with the back of his fingers, forcing my eyes up to his. "You are not alone anymore," he says. "Do you understand that?" A trembling breath escapes me. I don't know how to be anything else. His lips part almost in pain. Then he leans in, so close his breath warms my cheek. "I'll teach you." Was. The air between us tightens. Charged, intimate, unbearable. And for the first time since the night everything changed, I feel something unfamiliar. Hope, but beneath it, an even more dangerous hunger. For him, for his hands, his mouth, his protection, his violence, his everything. He must see it on my face because his thumb grazes my lower lip, barely a touch, just a whisper of contact. I inhale sharply. He exhales, slow. "Careful, Emilia," he murmurs. "Look at me like that again, and I won't stop at restraint." Heat floods my body. He steps back finally, giving me air I didn't know I needed. "I have a meeting," he says. "Stay here. I'll send someone to watch the door." "Alessandro," my voice cracks. "Don't kill him yet, please." His eyes soften just barely. "I won't kill him today," he says, Relief floods me, until he adds, with chilling calm, "Today, I'm only going to find him. Is Stasens." He turns and leaves the room, door clicking shut behind him. I sink back onto the sofa, heart pounding violently, because part of me fears what he'll do next. And another part, the part I barely recognize, wants to see what a man like Alessandro Moretti does to the monster who broke me.
The price of loyalty. Time moves strangely when fear is thick in the air. Minutes stretch. Hours twitch. Everything feels too loud and too quiet at once. Alessandro left nearly an hour ago. The office suite he placed me in feels both protective and suffocating, like a gilded chamber designed to keep me untouchable or trapped. A guard stands outside the door. I can hear his weight shift every so often. I'm safe. That's what Alessandro wants me to believe. But safety, in my world, has always been an illusion. I pace the length of the room, adrenaline pushing through my veins. I can't sit still. I can't think. I can't breathe. Not while Alessandro is out there hunting a man who once destroyed me and potentially destroying himself in the process. The door clicks. I whirl around, but it isn't Alessandro. It's someone else I haven't seen in weeks. My father. He steps in as though he owns the place. Imposing, impeccably dressed. Eyes sharp with suspicion and something colder. Something that looks like disappointment. "Emilia," he says, voice low but cutting. "We need to talk." My pulse spikes. "How did you even get in here?" I asked. His mouth tightens. And Alessandro's men know better than to deny a father access to his daughter. I doubt it was that simple. I doubt his tone was that neutral. "I don't want to talk to you," I say, forcing steel into my voice. He closes the door behind him. "That isn't your decision." Anger rises hot in my chest. "You're my daughter," he continues, "and your behavior this morning, your husband storming out of the building, your name circulating like wildfire through our network, makes me think you've done something unfortunate." My stomach drops. "What do you mean?" His eyes narrow. "Did you tell him something?" My lips part. No sound comes out. Something dark flickers across his face, annoyance, fear, calculation, the exact same expression he wore the night I told him what Adrian did to me, the night he decided to bury the truth. "Emilia!" His tone sharpens. "You did not repeat that lie to your husband. Tell me you didn't." I freeze. Lie. He calls it a lie. After all these years, after everything, he still thinks I fabricated it. Or worse, that it was insignificant. "No," I whisper. I told him the truth. He exhales through his nose, slow and angry. "You foolish girl." Something in me snaps. Foolish? My voice shakes, not with fear, but fury. For finally telling a man who actually cares what happened to me? For refusing to protect your monster anymore? He steps closer, towering over me. "Adrian is loyal, reliable, a necessary asset. You misunderstood what happened that night." "A misunderstanding doesn't leave bruises," I hiss. His jaw tightens. "Watch your tone." "Or what?" I demand. "I'm not a child anymore. I'm not afraid of you." His expression freezes. "You don't understand the danger you've created. Alessandro is the danger," I snap. "But not to me." My father's eyes darken. "You think he'll protect you. That man will discard you the moment you become inconvenient. Your tears will bore him. Your weakness will disgust him." He didn't seem disgusted last night. I fire back, not sure why I say it. Only that it cuts him. His face reddens, fury tightening every line of it. "You've ruined everything." "No," I whisper. "Adrian did. It is not. And you let him," my father says. The accusation slices through me. I stumble back as though struck. "How dare you?" I breathe. "You seduced him," he says coldly. "Or provoked him. Whatever happened, you brought it on yourself." The air leaves my lungs like I've been punched. My father adjusts his cuffs, mask of control returning. You will tell Alessandro you were confused, emotional, mistaken. No, you will, he insists, or this marriage will collapse, and everything we've built will fall with it. I won't lie for you again. He steps closer, voice a whisper laced with venom. Then you will destroy us all. No, a voice says from the doorway, calm and lethal. She'll destroy only you. My blood freezes. Alessandro stands there, leaning against the doorframe, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, tie gone. He looks dangerous, too dangerous. The kind of dangerous that means something inside him has already snapped. And he heard everything. My father stiffens. Alessandro, leave, Alessandro says, voice dripping with quiet violence. This is between me and my daughter. Everything involving my wife, Alessandro interrupts, is between me and her. You being here uninvited is a mistake, a final one. My father's jaw ticks. You think you can threaten me? I am a man whose influence is rotting, Alessandro says, whose alliances are thinning, and who protected a rapist. The word slams into the room like a gunshot. My father pales. Careful. Words like that destroy reputations. Alessandro steps forward, a predator's stride. Controlled, certain. My reputation doesn't depend on men like you. My father glares at me. So this is your loyalty now? To him? Yes, I whisper, but Alessandro hears the tremor in my voice. His eyes flick to me, softened by the faintest crack of emotion. He turns back to my father. You'll leave this building, Alessandro says, voice low. You'll go home. You'll wait for my call. And if I don't? Alessandro smiles. It's terrifying. Then I will dismantle you piece by fucking piece. My father stiffens, fear shadowing his eyes for the first time. This isn't over, he mutters to me. No, Alessandro says. It is. My father's jaw clenches. He storms out, slamming the door behind him. Silence. A suffocating, heavy silence. Alessandro exhales slowly, running a hand through his dark hair. Then he turns to me. Emilia. Just my name. Soft. Raw. Too intimate. I can't breathe. He steps closer, hands sliding into his pockets like he's restraining himself. I'm sorry, I whisper, shaking. I didn't know. Stop, he says. He reaches for me. Not abruptly, not possessively. Slowly, carefully, as though I might break. His fingers brush my cheek. I flinch not from him, but from everything else. He notices. His touch softens. You did nothing wrong. My throat tightens. I shouldn't have told you he's your ally. He was. Alessandro corrects. He isn't anymore. Because of me. Because he's a coward who protected a monster. I blink back tears. He called me a liar. I heard, Alessandro says, voice darkening. And I wanted to tear his throat out for it. One tear escapes. I wipe it quickly, embarrassed. He catches my wrist gently. Look at me. I do. His eyes burn. Not with anger, with something heavier. I will fix this, he murmurs. All of it. But I need you to trust me. I swallow hard. I don't know how. He leans down, forehead lowering until it almost touches mine. Start small, he whispers. Trust that I won't hurt you. My breath shivers. Trust, he adds quietly. That when I touch you, it will never be to break you. Heat pulses through me. He notices. His lips curve faintly. You feel it, he murmurs. Don't pretend you don't. My cheeks burn. I don't. Yes, he interrupts softly. You do. His thumb grazes the corner of my mouth. My body betrays me leaning in, breath hitching. He inhales sharply through his nose, as if restraining himself costs him something real. I want you, he admits quietly. Not because you're mine. Not because this marriage demands it, but because when you look at me like that, Amelia. His voice drops. I forget why I shouldn't take you right now. A tremor runs through me. Want. Fear. Need. All tangled. But I won't, he adds, stepping back slowly, painfully. Not until you ask. I won't. I manage. He smiles, a dark, knowing thing. You will. Before I can argue, his phone buzzes. He glances down, expression sharpening. They found him, he says. My knees weaken. Adrian? I whisper. Yes. His eyes lift to mine, cold, lethal, unyielding. I'm going to him. My breath catches. Alessandro, please, don't kill him yet. His eyes soften. The storm remains, but its edges shift. I promised you I wouldn't kill him today, he says, and I won't. Relief washes through me until he adds, with chilling calm, but I didn't promise not to touch him. The room spins. You'll stay here, he says, with 2 guards. You don't move until I return. I open my mouth. I'm scared. When right? He crosses the room in an instant, taking my face between his hands, his voice a low growl against my lips. Don't be. His breath warms my skin. No one will hurt you again, he vows. Not while I'm breathing. Then, without warning, he presses a kiss to my forehead. Not seductive. Not strategic. A vow sealed in silence. By the time I open my eyes, he's already at the door. Alessandro, I whisper. He stops, looks back, and for one heartbeat, I see something human flicker in him, something vulnerable, dangerous, unguarded. Then it's gone. He leaves, and I am alone with one thought echoing through my chest. If he touches Adrian today, what will he become tomorrow?
What belongs to him? The room they put Adrian in smells like disinfectant and old fear. It's not a dungeon. Alessandro doesn't need theatrics. Just a stripped-down private floor in one of his less public properties, white walls, a table bolted into concrete, a single metal chair, and the man tied to it. Adrian Rossi looks older than I remember. Lines carved around his mouth, his once carefully styled hair a little thinner, his suit rumpled in a way I've never seen. But his eyes, those are the same, cold, calculating, just a hint of smugness. He turns his head when Alessandro walks in, flanked by 2 men in dark suits. Both of them stay at the door. They don't need instructions. This is not their scene. This is Alessandro's. Signore Moretti, Adrian drawls, beginning to push himself upright before remembering the zip ties cutting into his wrists. Is this your idea of a business meeting? Alessandro doesn't answer. He walks to the table and sits opposite him, unhurried, rolling his sleeves to his forearms with a clinical, almost bored care. The silence stretches. A test. Adrian breaks first. If this is about Romano, he says, lips curling faintly, you have my sympathy. The man's losing his edge. You, on the other hand, I've always respected your work. He says it like they are peers, like they are equals. Alessandro tilts his head. You think this is about respect? Adrian's eyes sharpen. If you wanted me dead, I'd already be floating somewhere offshore, and you don't waste assets. That's where you're wrong, Alessandro says calmly. I'm learning to make exceptions. Adrian shifts, testing the binds around his wrists. We have mutual interests. We did, Alessandro corrects. Until I discovered one of your pastimes. Adrian's mouth twitches. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. Alessandro studies him, gaze slow and devastating, like a scanner picking apart weaknesses. Tell me, he says quietly, do you remember every woman you've hurt? Adrian stills. That's a broad accusation, is it? Alessandro leans back. I expected a denial. He shrugs one shoulder in a lazy gesture. We've all done things we're not proud of. This isn't about pride. No? Adrian smirks. Then what is it about? A jealous husband? I hear you married Romano's daughter. Congratulations. She was always pretty enough shy, a bit cold, but he doesn't finish the sentence, because Alessandro moves. Fast. His fist collides with Adrian's jaw in a sharp, brutal arc, the crack of it echoing off sterile walls. Adrian's head snaps to the side. Blood spatters the floor in a crimson arc. "Careful," Alessandro says softly, shaking out his hand once. "I promised I wouldn't kill you. I didn't promise not to rearrange your face." Adrian laughs, wet and hoarse. "So this is about a woman." "She's not a woman," Alessandro says, voice low. "She's my wife. This where has mated." "Ah," Adrian breathes, tongue checking his teeth. "Emilia." Alessandro's vision tunnels. Adrian leans forward as far as the restraints allow, eyes gleaming with something ugly. "She was sweet. So scared. I still remember the way she..." The second punch is worse. Not because of force, but because of precision. Alessandro drives it into his ribs, exactly where bone bruises most. Adrian chokes on a breath, color draining from his face. The chair screeches against concrete. "Say her name again," Alessandro murmurs. "I dare you." Adrian wheezes, lips stained red. "You think you're the first man to react like this?" "I don't care about the others," Alessandro says. "I care about you, and about what you did that night." He leans in, elbows on the table, hands folded. "Tell me." Adrian gives a jagged, humorless laugh. "You want details? Is that your thing?" "I want a confession." "Why?" Adrian sneers. "So you can feel justified when you kill me?" "I'm not killing you," Alessandro says. "Yet." Adrian meets his eyes. "Then what's this? A warning?" "A promise," Alessandro says. "From this moment on, every breath you take, every step you walk, every time you sleep, you'll do it knowing I own the rest of your life, and that I can end it whenever I see fit." Adrian's bravado cracks for the first time. "You don't have that right." "I married her," Alessandro says quietly. "I took responsibility for what was done to her. That gives me every right I need." He reaches into the folder on the table, slides a photo out. It's from years ago. Emilia at some formal event, dressed too big for her, eyes downcast, smile polite and practiced. He places it between them. Adrian stares at it. Something flickers. "Look at her," Alessandro says. "Really look." Adrian's jaw clenches. "That night," Alessandro continues, voice softer now, "more dangerous for it. She told you to stop, didn't she?" Adrian swallows. "She cried," Alessandro murmurs. "She begged. She said no." Adrian's gaze skitters away. "She was confused, emotional." "Try again," Alessandro says. Silence. "Say it," he orders. Adrian's eyes flick to the guards, then back to him. He forces out a rough, bitter laugh. "What does it matter? You got a perfect marriage out of it." The tears dry. The girl moves on. "That's how it works." Alessandro's hands flex. "The girl doesn't move on," he says. Each word a contained explosion. She learns to live with it. She learns to hide it. She learns to doubt herself every time a man looks at her. He leans in until they're inches apart. "And then she marries a man like me. A man who promised himself he would never care about a stranger's scars. And she makes him break that promise in 3 days." He lets that sink in. Adrian's breathing roughens. "She told you." "She did," Alessandro says. "Finally, unlike you, I listened." He stands slowly. "I'm not going to kill you today," he says. "I gave Emilia my word. Breaking it isn't an option." He nods to one of his men. A switch is flicked. The lights overhead hum softer. "But the thing about men like you," Alessandro continues, "is that fear works better than death." He moves behind Adrian, lowering his mouth near his ear. "From now on, every deal you try to make, every alliance you try to build, every move you make in the shadows, you'll find me in your way," he whispers. "You will be poison. To families, to partners, To everyone who hears your name, Adrian stiffens. You can't. I already have, Alessandro says. Rossi is finished. He straightens. Romano, too. Adrian twists as much as the bindings allow, fury igniting. You would turn on your own alliance for a woman? For my wife, Alessandro corrects. For the last time, learn the difference. He nods again. One of his men steps forward, a syringe glinting briefly in the light. Adrian recoils. What is that? Nothing dramatic, Alessandro says. You'll wake in a few hours, somewhere less comfortable, with a new life, a much smaller, uglier one waiting for you. Exile, Adrian spits. Your kind of exile, Alessandro says. Cut off, powerless, nobody. You'll see what it feels like to have something ripped away that you thought was yours to keep. Adrian stares at him. You think this fixes her? No, Alessandro says quietly. But it starts to fix me. He steps back as the needle enters Adrian's arm and his protests become slurred, thick, fading. When Adrian's head finally lolls to the side, unconscious, Alessandro exhales slowly. He feels no better. He feels slightly less like he's burning alive. Get him out of here, he says. They move wordlessly. As they drag Adrian's limp body away, one of the men pauses. Where to, boss? Somewhere he'll be forced to remember every day what he lost, Alessandro says. And somewhere that reminds him it was me who took it. He turns away before they haul him out. The door shuts with a muted thud. Stillness rushes in for the first time in hours. The only person left in the room is the one he's been trying not to think about, the girl in the photo, the woman waiting in his office, Emilia. He doesn't know what he expects to find when he walks back into the suite. Tears, maybe. The brittle shell of a woman pushed too far, too fast. What he finds instead is her, standing by the window, arms wrapped around herself, eyes distant. The city sprawls beneath her in glittering lines. Her reflection floats over it. White dress, bruised expression, the faint smudge of mascara near one eye she hasn't bothered to fix. She hears the door before she sees him. Her shoulders tense. He closes it quietly behind him. It's done, he says. She turns slowly. Did you kill him? No. He steps closer, not too close. He's learning his own limits, too. But he will never touch another woman again. Not under my watch. Not under anyone's. Her throat works. Where is he? Gone, Alessandro says. Out of the city. Out of the families. That's not an answer, she whispers. He considers. He's contained. Alive. That's the only part you need. Her eyes search his face, looking for something. Regret, guilt, satisfaction. She finds none. You look, she hesitates. Tired. He huffs a quiet sound. That's one word for it. A beat. Do you regret it? She asks. He blinks. Regret what? Taking my side. His jaw tightens. That implies there was another side to take. Romano will come after you, she says. My father, he won't let this go without a fight. You know that. I'm counting on it, Alessandro says. She frowns. Why? Because I'm very good at winning. There it is again. That arrogant certainty. That unshakable belief in his own inevitability. And yet, she doesn't find it repulsive. She finds it steadying. He steps closer, closer, until the space between them feels charged again. His hand lifts, hesitates, then settles lightly on her waist. Not grabbing, not claiming, just resting. How do you feel? He asks. No one's ever asked me that after hurting someone else, she says honestly. His lips tilt. Get used to it. She stares up at him, at the faint bruise on his knuckles, at the tension in his jaw he doesn't quite hide, at the fatigue in his eyes. You didn't have to do this, she whispers. Yes, he says quietly. I did. She swallows. I don't know how to repay you for this. His gaze drops to her mouth. I didn't do it for repayment. Then why? She asks. He leans in slightly. Not enough to touch lips, just enough for his breath to brush hers. Because the thought of you lying in my bed at night, haunted by his ghost, makes me want to burn the world down, he murmurs. Because I don't want another man's hands living in your head when you think about mine. Heat floods her face. His thumb brushes a small circle at her waist. Because whether you accept it or not, Emilia, I am already yours, in ways I have no right to be. Her heart stutters. You said, she manages. You wouldn't take anything, not until I asked. I did, he says. You still mean it? His jaw flexes, like the promise costs him something. Yes. The air thickens. Her pulse is a drum in her ears. Every part of her is acutely aware of him, the warmth of his palm, the clean scent of his skin, the depth in his eyes when he looks at her like there's nothing else in the world worth seeing. Alessandro, she whispers. His fingers tighten slightly. Yes? She should step back. She should ask for time. Instead, she hears herself say, stay. The single word hangs between them. Fragile, trembling, immense. His eyes darken. Emilia, she swallows. I don't want to be alone tonight. That isn't the same as wanting me, he murmurs. Her cheeks heat. Maybe I want both. Silence. Then he exhales, ragged and low. His hand rises, cupping her jaw, thumb tracing the soft tremble in her bottom lip. Are you sure? He asks. No, she admits. His mouth curves, pained and tender. Thank you for not lying. I'm scared, she says. I know. He leans in, brushing his forehead against hers. What scares you more? He asks quietly. The memory of him, or the idea of wanting me? She closes her eyes. Both. He presses the lightest of kisses to the corner of her mouth. So soft she barely feels it. So gentle it almost breaks her. Then let me teach you the difference, he whispers. Her heart clenches. Just tonight, she says. He pulls back, eyes searching hers. There is no just tonight with me, she breathes out, shaky. I know. His thumb strokes her cheek. Say it, he murmurs. Say what you want. To where? She's never been allowed to want anything out loud. But maybe tonight, in this room, with this man, she can. Her voice falters. I want you to touch me. Not like he did, not to prove anything, just to make it feel different. His eyes close briefly, as if the request hits him somewhere deep. When he opens them again, they're darker, warmer, no less dangerous. Look at me, he says. She does. I will touch you, he says quietly. Slowly, fully in control, fully stoppable. You say no. I stop. You push me away. I move back. You tell me it's too much. We breathe. Understood? Her lips part. You'd do that. I'd do worse than that for you, he says. Stopping is easy. Emotion rises like a tide in her chest. She nods. He lifts her hand to his mouth, kisses her knuckles, then her wrist. Heat trails behind his lips. Good, he murmurs. Then we start here. He leans in and finally, presses his mouth to hers. It's not like the kiss at the altar. That kiss was performance, precision, proof. This kiss is something else entirely. It's slow, intentional, a question and an answer at once. He doesn't force his way in. He coaxes, lips soft, head angled just right. When she gasps, he pulls back a fraction, letting her set the pace. Her fingers clutch his shirt front, knuckles brushing the steady thrum of his heart beneath. He deepens the kiss only when she leans in first. Heat blooms, unfurling through her like something long dormant finally waking up. She makes a small, broken sound against his mouth. He groans quietly, the sound low and restrained. Careful, he murmurs against her lips. You have no idea what you do to me. Show me, she whispers. His eyes flare. Then his hands slide to her waist, drawing her closer. He lifts her easily, guiding her backward until her thighs brush the edge of the sofa. She sinks down. He follows, one knee on the cushion, careful not to press his weight fully on her, bracing himself so she can move if she wants to. His mouth trails along her jaw, down to the soft skin just beneath her ear. "Is this okay?" he breathes. She nods, dizzy. "Yes." He smiles against her skin. "Say it." "Yes," she whispers. "Alessandro, more." He obliges. His hands skim the sides of her body, following the lines of her dress, memorizing every curve through fabric. When his palms brush the outside of her thighs, she shivers. "You're beautiful," he says softly. "You know that." "No," she says honestly. He lifts his head, eyes locking onto hers. "Then I'll tell you every day until you believe it." Color rises in her cheeks. "You don't have to." "I want to." His fingers find the zipper at her spine, pausing. "Your choice," he says. "We can stop here, or we can keep going slowly." Her pulse is racing, but the panic of the past isn't there. Just him. Just this. She thinks of the cage she walked into wearing couture, of the ghost that has haunted every touch since, of the man in front of her now, offering to break every rule he's ever lived by just to give her time. She takes a breath. "Keep going," she says. His eyes darken. "Say my name when you ask me for something." "Alessandro," she whispers, the syllables catching on a rising wave of heat. "Please, keep going." "Est." He closes his eyes for a moment, as if those words are almost too much. Then he lowers his mouth to hers again, kissing her with a hunger he no longer tries to hide. Her world narrows to the slide of his hands, the warmth of his body, the steady murmur of her name against her lips. As he eases the zipper down inch by inch, he pulls back just enough to search her face for any sign of fear. There isn't any, just a new kind of trembling. Want. "You're doing so well," he murmurs. "So brave." She laughs shakily. "I don't feel brave." "You are," he says. "You're here, with me, by choice." He leans in, lips brushing her ear. "And that," he whispers, "is worth more to me than any blood on any sheet." Her heart twists. Outside, the city thrums on, unaware. Inside, in the quiet of Alessandro's world, Emilia closes her eyes and lets the past go, piece by painful piece. She lets his hands map a new language on her skin. She lets his mouth rewrite memories, replacing cold with warmth, fear with something wild and breathless and almost holy. When they finally tumble onto the bed in their room, his room, their room, she isn't thinking about promises, or alliances, or tradition. She's thinking about the way he looks at her like she's the first thing in his life that isn't a transaction. She's thinking about how, for the first time since she was 17, she wants him, his weight above her, his voice in her ear, his vows spoken in quiet touches instead of church Latin. He whispers her name as if it's a prayer. And when she finally falls apart in his arms, it isn't in fear. It's in surrender. Not to him, to herself. Later, when the room is dark and the city lights cut sharp lines across their tangled sheets, Emilia lies with her head on Alessandro's chest, listening to his heartbeat. Steady, strong, a sound she didn't know she needed. He traces idle patterns on her bare shoulder. "You're quiet," he says. She smiles against his skin. "I'm thinking, dangerous." She huffs, the sound half-laugh. "You're arrogant." "Yes," he agrees. "But you seem to like me anyway." She blushes. "Maybe a little." His fingers pause. "Emilia?" "Hmm?" "No more ghosts," he says softly. "Not in this bed, not in your head." She tilts her face up. "You can't promise that." "I can," he says, "and I just did." "What about my father?" she asks quietly. His jaw tightens. "He'll pay his price. He's still my family." "So am I," Alessandro says. "The difference is, I choose you. He chose himself." Her throat tightens. "You're safe here," he adds. "With me." She studies him. The hard line of his mouth. The softness that only emerges when he's half asleep and letting his guard down. "You scared me," she admits. "When you left, when you said you were going to him, Wivnid, I scared myself," he says. But I gave you my word. And if one day, she asks quietly, your need for blood is stronger than your word? He thinks about it. Then we'll renegotiate my nature, he says. Together. She laughs softly. You really think we could? He kisses her hair. I think we already are. She falls silent again, breathing in his scent, fingers tracing lazy circles on his chest. So, she says finally, no bloody sheet tomorrow? He snorts. If anyone comes near our bedroom asking for proof, I'll throw them off the balcony. Alessandro. She scolds weakly. He grins into her hair. What? I'm serious. There's only one proof I need. What's that? She asks. He lifts her chin so she's looking at him, really looking. This, he says. You. In my bed. By choice. Knowing exactly who I am. Her chest aches. What if I change my mind? She whispers. His eyes soften. Then I'll move to the guest room. She searches his face. Finds no lie. Trust, slow and startling, unfurls inside her. She presses a soft kiss to his collarbone. You won't need to. He exhales slowly, tension he didn't realize he was holding finally easing. Good, he murmurs. Outside, somewhere in the city, Adrian Rossi wakes in a place he doesn't recognize, with no power and no future, haunted by the knowledge that a man like Alessandro Moretti now owns his fate. In another part of town, Romano stares at a phone that no longer rings with the same reverence, his empire quietly crumbling as allies turn away, one by one, from a man who protected a predator and lost a king. In the bed where she once feared she'd be broken, Emilia Moretti lies wrapped in the arms of a man who is both weapon and sanctuary. Her past is still there, but it no longer owns her. He does, and for the first time in a very long time, that doesn't feel like a sentence. It feels like a choice. His chest rises beneath her cheek. Emilia, he murmurs, voice rough with sleep. Yeah? Tomorrow, he says. We start over. She smiles in the dark. Tomorrow, she agrees. Tonight, she lets herself drift, anchored to the steady heartbeat beneath her ear and the quiet vow in his arms. No blood on the sheets, just the imprint of her body beside his, and the beginning of something far more dangerous than war. Peace. On their terms. In their bed. Between a woman who finally learned to speak and the man who listened.